Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I'm Genevieve Wu, and it's my pleasure to be the moderator for this panel discussion. We have great speakers today, and I'm pleased to introduce Taichi Iwata, GM, Head of Digital Integration Division, NEC Corporation. Suresh Neelakantan, Business Development Director, Value Chain Innovation Laboratory, NEC Asia Pacific. And Keiji Matsunaga, Head of Asia Innovation Center, SMBC. Our theme today is partnership-driven innovation. It is a timely topic. In the past 1.5 to almost 2 years, COVID-19 has caused global disruptions because of lockdowns and quarantines. So many more things have moved online, forcing digitalization to speed up, whether we like it or not, and that has also caused innovation to speed up accordingly. There's also more spotlight on partnerships. With COVID, there's lesser and lesser in-person interactions. Everything's gone online. So we now need to find different ways to build trust and in partnerships, which is why our topic today will address some important issues. To kick off, I will direct my first question to Iwata-san. How is Web 3.0 driving the technology partnership with banks? Iwata-san.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Again, thank you so much for joining this workshop. I'm really excited to talk about this important topic about how this technology can help banks and banks' corporate customers. So before talking about these interesting topics, let me explain a little bit about what components of the Web 3.0 really matters to this digital transformation of corporate banking. I think that namely, two things really matters. One is about embedded finance. Second is about data governance. So data governance is about how the corporate can more safely and easily share the data with a third party, especially in this case with the banks. And with embedded finance, these corporate customers can get much better financial services in a more real-time manners. And we will discuss more about these in this session.
Thank you for that introduction. And in your experience, Iwata-san, what has changed in the last few years when it comes to technology partnership with the banking partners? What's evolving?
Thank you. So I think the Web 3.0 summarizes very well. The embedded finance is in part, very becoming a more convenient way because of the improvement of the technologies. Much better way to connect between banks and corporates in more secure manners, and more availability of APIs, more availability of secure connections, more availability of cloud, and so on. So these technologies are helping banks and corporate to connect their softwares so that they can get much better financial products. And also, the use of cloud and data analytics tools can empower the daily operations of large enterprises too. But for most of the large enterprises, it's not easy to get the data literacy and data analytics powers. So it's better for the corporate to ask somebody else, like technology partner like us, to analyze their data. But to do that, we need data governance mechanism. And that kind of foundation is also increasingly available and becoming more sophisticated. So I think this kind of trends are helping the corporate customers to do much better data-driven way of operations and getting the financial services.
So in your point of view, Iwata-san, the challenges that banks face, now banking tends to be a more traditional service. But with now digitalization, they have to speed up and they have to partner with people like NEC. So what is the main change or challenge you see that banks are facing?
Okay, so I think for wholesale banking operations, the best way for them is to really understand the activities and the financial results of the corporate activities in real time in a more data-driven ways. All traditional ways, what available is the kind of financial reports audited by third party in a more less frequent ways. But because of this data governance and data intermediary services becoming more sophisticated, these corporate customers can share the data with a third party and they can ask for them to analyze their insights. And only by the consent of the corporate or by willingness of this corporate consumer side, they can share these insights with the banks. And the banks can get much better insight view of the real-time corporate activities and can propose better financial products. So I think having the partnerships with technology companies and corporate CFO office and banks can really maximize the values for all the stakeholders.
Okay, thank you for that analysis, Iwata-san. I'm going to pose my next question now to Suresh. Now, Suresh, you've been working with the banks for many years now, as you've introduced earlier. You have now joined a technology organization. So from your point of view, what is the important thing for banks to work with in terms of technology partners' perspective?
Hey, thank you, Genevieve. It's a fantastic question. See, let's look at the way the banking has evolved. If you go back, banking was always branch focused, right? If I need to withdraw cash, I need to fill in a challan walking into the branch and then wait for my token to collect the cash. That's how the past banking was. Even on the wholesale banking side, processing a letter of credit used to take ages. And if you talk to any of those enterprises, they would have people finance department very focusedly managing individual bank relationship, individual letter of credit processing, because that's how laborious it was. Look at things, the way things have evolved and where things are changing today, it is primarily technology driven and people, while the change is facilitated through technology, but there is a big shift in what people want. A few aspects are some of the biggest adoption of mobile usage, mobile technology. People want everything at the touch of a fingertips. We would have, when we heard Daichi-san emphasizing on embedded finance, now what does it mean? I would want to have all the banking transactions in a platform where I'm operating. It's on my mobile, so I would want to have the banking, I would want to have my statements on my phone. This includes for the corporate entity as well. I would want to authorize the second level of transaction on my phone. So that's the change that is happening. The second aspect is with the use of cloud, all that I need is an internet connection from anywhere. So I can access data from anywhere. These two are driving the Web 3.0 world. But when these two are coming in and it gives easy access of data, there is a concern around data security and information security. So these are three-dimensional. When I'm opening up data, when there is transfer of easy movement of data, easy access of information, it needs to come in with controls around. This is where a partnership with a technology company plays a big difference. Because we do not bring the banking domain expertise, but we bring in the technology and the data expertise here. And this is how the Web 3.0 world will evolve. It will be a partnership-driven world. And this is where we complement the banks in all the partnerships. The areas where the banks need technology support, areas where the banks need the controls that are needed to implement the functionality.
Thank you very much for that, Suresh-san. And to our third esteemed speaker today, Matsunaga-san, before we talk a little bit more about the bank's technology journey with NEC, tell us a little bit about SMBC's vision first, Matsunaga-san.
Yeah, thank you for your question. SMBC's corporate vision is to become a trusted global solution provider committed to the growth of the customers and the advancement of society. Needless to say, digital technologies are transforming our corporate customers' business models and operations, as Mr. Iwata said, and end customers' expectation for the better experience drives the demand for the corporate, which result in a faster time to market, complex supply chain operations, and a better optimization of resources. Under those circumstances, as the SMBC, we have started to realize the concept of the embedded finance. to contribute to the transformation and growth of the corporate customers. Let me elaborate a little bit. So if we take a B2B2C value chain, it starts from the demand planning, procurement of the materials from the multiple suppliers, and cross-border manufacturing operations, logistics, distribution of the finished good, cash collections, and so on. And now so many corporate customers are driving the digitalization to integrate their supply chain data to cope with the faster market demand. On the other hand, banks transactions such as loan and remittance and any other services are traditionally operated with fragmentary data and considered separately from the supply chain management. In order to respond to our customers' potential demand, we are now building the digital capabilities to connect the bank transaction directly with customers' ERP systems, treasury systems, or supply chain platforms to process financial transaction with integrated data automatically and instantly. This initiative optimizes both financial and operational efficiency simultaneously for the corporate customers. At the same time, it can be an upgrade of the bank's credit evaluation model and opportunity to reach to a more potential customer for banks. That is the objective of the embedded finance. For example, as for the financial efficiency, customers want to analyze, for example, cash conversion cycle and cash forecasting to utilize the suitable financial solution. So our commitment to our customers is to provide the financial solutions optimized by data analytics. And in order to achieve the data analytics, we will support the customers to integrate the supply chain data through the digital transformation. And that brings the customers with sales and demand forecasting, inventory optimization, process automation, and fraud or anomaly detection, which is another aspect or operational efficiency. Of course, we cannot do it alone. That's why we see the NEC as a very, very strong digital technology partner to complement our capabilities and to achieve our aspirations.
So I'm just gonna take a quick question here. Before the bank invests in any innovation, what are some of the key considerations that you will have to balance?
Thank you for a very good question. We have not fixed that some specific criteria. We have to clarify some complementary function or some mutual aspiration or goal. That's one of the key criteria we have when deciding some investment.
Thank you, Matsunaga-san. Now I'm going to throw it right back to you, Iwata-san. Your story of NEC and perhaps how then you came to this journey together with SMBC. Iwata-san.
Okay, thank you. So NEC is a digital technology company, and our purpose is best summarized in our corporate slogan. It's called Orchestrating a Brighter World. And I think this orchestration is something needed for harnessing the power of digital technology to real values. Because again, looking at today's industry, some companies with higher enterprise values are technology companies. But most of the emerging companies and the new technology companies can leverage this power of digital technologies. However, the large industries with long history don't have enough digital capabilities. So I think for a company like us, technology company needed to do more orchestrations among industries and banks or like among the value chains. So we partner with SMBC because we believe the partnership with the company like SMBC can be unique value propositions to the leading corporate enterprises in APAC regions. Again, as Matsunaga-san said, if these corporates with large supply chain can harness the power of digital technologies, they can do much better financial and business operations. And we know that what we don't know is what's the best way to do it, how to do it. And we say that the first phase to do it is really having the data available real time and having the kind of dashboard about what's happening in the corporate. And this real-time view availability will lead to a much better experience about the corporate operations. And in the end, I think it can leverage the evolving AI technologies.
Can you also share some of NEC's key driving factors that you focus on when building a partnership?
Okay, thanks. So for that, first thing we put in place is sense making and vision sharing. I think that's the most important part. So that's why we kind of set up Value Chain Innovation Lab, where we only focus on this sense making and vision sharing. And we only not do that through just talking. We will try to kind of conceptualize and materialize what we are envisioning and what it works. So we're doing lots of proof of concept with customers, but it's not only the kind of testing the MVP. It's about verifying what our vision can lead to real products and services too. That's why we invest our activities with customers. It's more like investment sharing activities, meaning commitments are shared as well. So I think these are the kind of unique activities we are doing basically in Singapore.
Thank you. Let me pick up a little bit on what you said about being very customer focused. And I'm going to point this question to Suresh, right? NEC pitches itself as a very customer-centric culture in NEC. Can you share a little bit more about that, Suresh, especially you are in business development?
There is a specific phrase in Japanese, omotenashi. This is more popularly used in the hospitality industry in the Japanese, which signifies about customer comfort. It doesn't just mean customer comfort, rather it is doing everything that the customer needs. What does that mean is including customizations. Customization as customer needs. Okay. Let me practically take an example. This is what we are and we want to achieve working with SMBC and offering a capability like an embedded finance. We have been working with a few enterprise CFOs along with SMBC, and we do identify pain points that we hear. When we talk to them, we understand that the CFOs wants to operate at the strategic level. They want to focus on the change management. They want to be the change makers. But eventually, they spend their 80–90% of the time managing day-to-day operations. These are big conglomerates that we are talking about. And what is interesting to observe is when we hear from them, there are pain points that we hear is from an outsider, it looks, hey, these looks simpler pain points. For example, lack of single vision of their entire performance across entities. These are multi-entities, these are multi-market, multi-entities capabilities. The information resides in silos, so they cannot consolidate and view it. They cannot benchmark and look at the performance of the individual entities. And it is too much of a time taken. It is very manual and it takes too much of a time for them. So in this context, what we really want when we work with them, when we do the proof of concept and when we identify this, what we really want to achieve at the end of the day is give a platform to the CFOs in such a way that it simplifies their life. This is where the embedded finance makes a huge difference. It is seamless access to the multiple entity data in one single place. We want them to come in, they want them to get a consolidated view of all their entity performances. They should be able to visualize the risk, address the risk. If they need to mitigate the risk, they should be able to mitigate the risk accordingly. And this gives them this is going to reduce the issue around data, and this is going to reduce the risk of fraud. For example, if I'm able to track the payments end to end, including authorization of the transaction using my own platform, but it is embedded. Practically what is happening is I'm doing banking transaction using my own platform without stepping out of my platform. At the end of the day, the CFO would be very happy that he is able to achieve his day-to-day operation and focusing on their strategic initiatives and being a catalyst for transformation.
Thank you very much. My next question, I will direct it to Matsunaga-san. Now, what does the bank look for when they're working with partners? What's the critical or important factor that will build the relationship?
Okay, I think we have two aspects, especially in the context of the embedded finance, as I said before. So first one is to have a clear complementary relationship in capabilities and functionalities. For example, having invoice reconciliation tools to combine with the bank's payment function, or have data analytics functions to forecast cash flow to combine with our working capital solutions. The second aspect is to have some openness to join a wider ecosystem to bring value to customers. Digital is moving away from some kind of the exclusive partnerships to open ecosystems. Customer wants to choose some functionalities and they prefer bank agnostic or vendor agnostic solutions. Sharing the spirits of the openness and having some flexibility of the exploring the new business models in the ecosystem is an important factor for partnership. In that regard, NEC brings very strong expertise in data analytics, data platforms, and system integration. To drive the embedded finance concept, we need a deep integration across the different platforms, which covers the customer's entire supply chain. And also careful designing of the data governance, data access, or data security frameworks are key issues. Of course, obviously, we need to comply with each country's government regulations as well. And so we would like to establish the core data platform with the NEC for a partner ecosystem, covering the holistic data governance and analytics capabilities.
Thank you for that. So in a nutshell, we hear that banks are facing, of course, transformation, the need for transformation for change. There's competition from fintech is disrupting the market. There's more regulations needed in different markets. There's also the need for data privacy all around the world. And that while a lot of data needs to be managed, data also needs to be protected. Suresh, I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you think about all these multiple challenges? How can NEC help partners manage those kind of transformation needs?
Very interesting question. When we look at the data capabilities, there are 5 independent capabilities. The first one is around data assert. This is where the banks have ample of data assets. Both the banks and the entities are out there. But the other 4 aspects around data platform, data science, customer understanding, and the data governance, which is acceptable data use, which gives the guidelines on how acceptable the data use. These are the other aspects, and this is where NEC would play a big role. For example, let's take the aspect on data platform, right? This is where NEC will give capabilities which is integrated platform offered on the cloud. But when we offer these services on the cloud, it needs to be controlled. It needs to have all the governance and the control driven by the acceptable data use. And this is governed by the data governance guidelines. Again, where we need to understand is what does it mean, data governance? Data governance looks in simpler terminology. So what does it mean is defining your policies, procedures across different business entities. Assume that SMBC wants to offer a capability to a customer. What we need to ensure is the data access is with the right individual and the right resources. And the policies that define the access controls will govern. And this will be defined along with the respective business units. So where NEC makes a huge difference here is we would offer multiple layers of services. We offer pure play consulting service, where we would come in, do your assessment of your processes and provide you a very specific to the data governance. Or we could give you a platform as a service. We can give you a pure play data platform which comes in with an embedded controls on the data governance. Or the third aspect is pure data science as a capability. You have data scientists who would give you all the reporting, analytics, insights. At the end of the day, raw data doesn't make any sense. I would need to have the insights around it. And this is where offering a platform alone doesn't serve the purpose. I would also need the corresponding data science for me to derive the insight. The last dimension is the customer understanding. Working very, very closely with the end users, understand the customer needs, experimentation, co-creation. These are the aspects which drives the entire customer understanding to a proof of concept, to an MVP with the customer, fail fast, and then understand what the customer needs. So that's how the NEC plays a difference here.
At this point, all the speakers today, Suresh, Iwata-san, Masunaga, they have all talked about data governance as a huge concept. Let me take a step back and throw this to Iwata-san. What exactly is data governance? Can you explain to me in a nutshell?
Okay, thanks. I think as Mr. Matsunaga said, ecosystem is one of the keyword to get the benefits out of this digital economy for corporate customers, because they want to choose the best of the solutions out of the many offerings. However, you have to put this data governance into practice to maximize these available offerings. Meaning, to do the analytics, first you needed to know the data quality, maturity. That means you needed to really manage where the data is stored, what data means, because in each system, there is so many definitions of data. Like some data mean branch code, and some data means money code, but for the AI, it's all numbers. So somebody needed to give the catalog definitions to this data. And managing this catalog is very practical things, but a very important foundation for getting the better AI analytics. So this managing a data catalog is probably the first thing for many corporates to do. But beyond that, if you can manage who access this data, who is viewing my data, who can analyze my data, who can get to the access to the results of these analytics of data. If you can have more control or ownership of the data and the analytics and results of control, the corporate would feel much better about sharing these data. I think this is about the data governance. You keep the quality and the control, and you can get the maximum benefit from the digital economy ecosystem.
Okay, but even then, the process is not easy. It is a complicated one. And for fast-growing companies where speed, of course, is everything, it is particularly challenging. So how can NEC help in this way?
Okay, so Suresh talked a little bit, but we provide, beginning from the consultation service about data governance tools, and a data-driven analytics platform, and the API connection to use the third-party application platforms. I think this consulting to tools, I think is becoming more important because first, understanding about the regulations about data protection is not easy things for most people. So we partner with legal firms to really provide the better consultations for corporate customers about complying with regulations. And after that, we provide tools to make that compliance readiness much more easier ways. Because you needed to, for the compliance department, you need to report to regulators, hey, we are complying with all the regulations and so on, but that reporting is the headache. So that tools comes in. So if we can provide both services to the corporate customers, I think that is a kind of something that we are kind of adding as a values in on more coming years.
Okay, so I think if I understand this, then it sounds like you're describing an ecosystem, right? So ecosystem seems to be a key word. And of course, earlier we talked about COVID-19 and how that has changed the world. It has, accelerated partnerships. Can you give some real life examples of how NEC works, with partners in this ecosystem?
Yes. So let me begin with one example. We are working heavily with SMBC. It's about the real-time dashboard for CFO offices. So we worked with SMBC and some of the CFO offices of large enterprises. We get insights, pain points from the CFO offices, and also data management practices. And we helped them to, again, do the data quality practice into place and gave the real-time cash management dashboard. That helps the life of a CFO much easier and also enable much better operations of the corporations. And another example we're working with SMBC is called BizCreate. It's actually the business matching platform. It's basically the corporates input their needs for what they want to do. Like in Japan, as a use case of use of this BizCreate is in some local farms want to sell like beef. Some local beef is very premium in Japan. So it's very expensive, but they want to have the challenge in like Tokyo. So they want to partner with some companies in like restaurants and so on. But for them, it's very hard to acquire this kind of sales partnerships. So we're kind of matching in the platform, and we're creating that kind of platform with SBC. So we're really creating a lot of products to really maximize the values of corporate and customers.
Okay, so I hear you. So we talked about how data governance is important for data-driven decision making, and how it's very holistic because you're from technology to policy to regulation and also matching of capabilities, and also a supportive ecosystem in a fast-moving world. Now, tell us then, what's next needed to accelerate partnership-driven innovation? Iwata-san.
I think what would accelerate this partnership is better way to do the kind of partnership management in a simpler way. Meaning, the stakeholders has a different viewpoints, different languages. Even we speak English, we kind of use a different language in based on the corporate cultures. But we kind of having the more knowledge and management capabilities about aligning the goal with these stakeholders. And if we started doing that, I think this kind of partnership, open innovations using the kind of advanced technologies will start accelerating more.
Okay, so I'm going to throw the next question to Matsunaga-san, who's on the other side of the partnership. Then tell us then your expectation for NEC, Matsunaga-san, who's now no longer a traditional vendor or client. They are now your partner too. So what are your expectations for NEC?
Yeah, thank you for your question. As I mentioned earlier, we would like to establish some strong data platform with the NEC, and then scout, identify, and invite various type of the different partners in cross-industrial and cross-functional domains to our ecosystem. building a partner ecosystem for the embedded finance, starting from the Singapore, Southeast Asia, and expand it to a global scale is our aspiration. We really appreciate the openness and transparency in our ongoing initiative with NEC. We would like NEC to continue to be some technology enabler and core partner with SMBC.
Thank you for sharing. Now we are going to draw to a close of this panel. Let me say a few words here. Today we discussed about partnership-driven innovation and its importance in the technology and banking industries. Now, the top messages today that I hear is that trust is critical in any partnership. And there's also a saying that I want to share that if you want to go fast, you travel alone. But if you want to go further, you travel in a group. Therefore, no man or no company is an island. So collaborations work best as an ecosystem, which what we have demonstrated today with NEC and SMBC, where partners support each other with open and transparent communication. So then this brings us to the end of a very useful and lively discussion. A big thanks to all our panelists today, Iwata-san, Matsunaga-san, and Suresh for sharing their insights. And to our viewers today, thank you for spending time with us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
NEC.
Hi, so we talked about the partnership with the banks, how we can empower corporate bank customers with our technology capabilities. The next session is another great partnership with AI automation software company called dotData. So let's begin the session on dotData.
I'm Suhas. I'm a senior consultant for analytics and AI solutions with NEC APAC. I welcome one and all to the session about leveraging AI for the next gen financial services in Web 3.2. So in this session, you can expect to understand the latest trends and outlook for AI in financial services, and also how data science automation through dotData is playing a crucial role in future-proofing the industry. So let's look at some stats. It's pretty evident that the future trends are hinting towards a significant millennial wave, where the users are well-read, tech-savvy, and digitally enabled. And the offerings are rapidly moving towards platformification, where it becomes highly imperative for the enterprises of today to rapidly evolve on a day-to-day basis to stay ahead of the curve. With neobanks and also non-banking entities making their presence felt, the competition for traditional financial entities is heating up and will require rapid innovation and more data-driven initiatives to stay connected with their customers. And not just to retain them, but to keep them invested and engaged. The financial sector is probably the most data-intensive sector in the global economy, and the impact of data science on this sector is definitely hard to overestimate. And financial entities are sitting on limitless gold mines of customer data, but majorly due to siloed, product-oriented organizations, the majority of them are unable to utilize these rich data sets. This while the financial services industry has been investing very heavily for more than a decade in data collection, processing technologies, and also in various AI tools in recent years. With data being collected from different sources like enterprise applications and array of databases, even from apps on your phones, smart wearables, social media, large enterprises are sitting on gold mines of exponentially increasing data sets. To process such vast amounts of information, AI and machine learning provide the perfect platform which helps extract valuable insights and also predict a customer's behavioral pattern and preferences. Loyalty of a customer nowadays has to be earned, and with the number of options at a customer's disposal nowadays, loyalty will not just be a hard fought, but an even harder asset to retain. In that effort, the ability of a company to provide a service while delivering a personalized and tailored experience is critical to its success in this competitive industry. AI plays an important role in helping financial entities gain this competitive edge. As the demand for AI is estimated to rise over the next decade or so, predictive and prescriptive analytics will be seeing a further surge in interest as a company's very survival will depend on who's able to sustain and grow business with their customers. So with that said, I would like to invite an industry veteran, Mr. Hideto Mori, our Vice President, into the session. Mori-san was an executive officer in Teradata Japan, leading the analytics business consulting division, after having worked with IBM for around 30 years in data and analytics space. He leads all dotData operations in Japan as a country manager, handling efforts in sales, marketing, customer success, support, and service delivery. Morisa will highlight the general challenges in AI adoption from his experience and also the solutions available for financial entities nowadays. Welcome, Morisa, and over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Please, next slide, please. And as Sas-san mentioned, a new generation is coming and new demand of the financial service is rising. And it's a great opportunity for us. And at the beginning of this session, Iwata-san and SMBC team presented data is the key to get the opportunity. That is the first half of the message. And in my session, I'd like to say that AI can unlock the potential of the data. And so how can we leverage the data with AI? That is our point. And actually, many of you have already started AI project, but it's not yet necessarily successful. And the reason why. Next page, please. We are encountering many challenges, and that is the problem. And yes, we lined up the many challenges, but in summary, I think that essentially the problem or challenge is extract the business insights from the raw data is very time consuming and labor consuming. And also it's depending on a skill of the expert. And also the model generated by the expert is not necessarily explainable. That is a problem. And I think that AI will contribute to change the situation. Next page, please. dotData is originally the technology in NEC Corporation R&D, but in 2018, this technology was strategically carved out from NEC and headquartered in San Mateo in California. So currently, dotData is independent company from NEC. And after launching this company, just after launching, just 1 year after launching, dotData was named as the leader in AutoML solution by Forrester Research. That is amazing achievement. Actually, it's very rare that just a startup company was named as a leader. And why? Because dotData can cover end-to-end data science automation capability, especially feature engineering. Next page, please. And as you can see, in order to make AI model, machine learning model, raw data cannot consume directly by machine learning or AI. But dotData's capability can handle raw data and for the data preparation and feature engineering, and also AutoML itself. And then automatically dotData deploys a model and predict in a production mode. So dotData AI capability is covering whole process of data science. Next page. And especially this feature engineering functionality, that is first and only capability by dotData. And if the human beings would like to cover this process, domain experts have to create a bunch of hypotheses, and then it is necessary to validate by real data, by data scientists. It's very time consuming and labor consuming, and it's expert work and depending on the skill. Now that is a problem, but if you leverage dotData AI capability, full scope of this process will be covered by dotData. Next page, please. And that is an example of the features generated by dotData. And first use case is who will purchase our financial product. That is a typical use case in the banking customers. And yeah, to tell the truth, many of bank customers in Japan, they always say that, please find out the rich person, because a rich person will surely purchase a financial product. Is it true? dotData AI detected this feature. This person, the type of the credit card is just a normal. It means that not a black, gold, or platinum, just a very low-end credit card. And the number of transactions is less than 10 times in 2 weeks. This feature is far from the image of the rich person, but it's a reality. So dotData's features detected by AI capability that avoid human beings bias and truly detected based on real raw data. So analyst or the customer can easily detect the truth from the raw data. Next page. And also, Iwata-san's session, banking company is focusing on a real-time operation, and dotData is also covering real-time prediction. And actually, in Japan, some customer has already started this real-time prediction in production. So we have a confidence that we can provide the real-time prediction benefit to the APAC customers also. Next page, please. And a customer's use case. To tell the truth, this slide was approved by customer 2 years ago for the dotData Inc., not NEC. So this slide is from the dotData. And as I introduced, I have a title of the dotData. So in this slide and next slide, I present as a dotData person. And SMBC, they are saying that, yes, just 5 minutes operation, that's all, and they can get the fruits. Sasan, click one more, yes. And before using dotData, they consumed 2 months to develop the prediction model. But currently they are creating or developing one model for 1 or 2 days. And before dotData, SMBC is operating 5 or 6 use cases in a year, but currently they are operating more than 100 use cases in a year. So that is a huge productivity improvement. And next page, please. And the other company, MS&AD, this company is also a big insurance company in Japan. And they achieved a great productivity improvement. But additional point or benefit is dotData can provide a white box prediction capability, because dotData provides the features with a national language. So customer can validate it, why dotData AI predicts such a thing. And because from the raw data, the features are these things. Based on these features, AI predicted with a machine learning capability. So customer can easily explain why this prediction. So this white box capability is very important for the insurance company. And next page, next page, please. And this is the last page. dotData AI is providing the great speedy adoption. And so by this speedy adoption, human beings can concentrate or focus on the high value work, and AI will cover the labor centric or time consuming work. So human beings can focus on our high value work. So dotData can provide the end-to-end data science automation, especially with old feature generation capability. So I believe that this unique capability will surely contribute to the APAC financial customers. That's all from me, and Sasan, take over to you.
Thank you very much, Morisa, for your deep and insightful inputs. To sum up the takeaways from this session, we have understood that the enterprises of today need to adopt AI at a rapid pace, not just to stay abreast with competition, but to stay relevant in the business at all. It's also pretty evident that data science automation helps enterprises expedite digital transformation and also equip their existing data science team with a powerful tool to leverage the power of AI very quickly and effectively. And last but not the least, we also learned that dotData's award-winning auto feature engineering engine helps enterprises explore multiple use cases and also simplify the complex process of feature engineering while substantially increasing the quality of their predictive models. So we now have a very short video about dotData's powerful solution for you. So here we go.
BI leaders need AI to add predictive capabilities to their BI stack to enable valuable use cases like forecasting product demand, predicting machine failures, estimating upsell and cross-sell opportunities, and more. AI discovers hidden patterns and insights to unlock business value, optimize inventory, reduce costs, and drive revenue streams. But how do you infuse AI in BI and enable predictive business applications? Your data is diverse, complex, and not prepared for AI. You need difficult wrangling and time-consuming manipulation. Manually building AI models is error-prone, painfully slow, and tremendously expensive, requiring heavy lifting using tools and skills like ML, Python, and R. What if your BI staff could deliver AI-powered predictive tools for your business users in hours instead of months? You can. dotData makes AI simple and easy for your BI team through one-click AI automation. With dotData, no need for data prep, SQL, or Python coding and wrangling. Just connect to your business data and automatically explore. Discover hundreds of insights that you have never imagined. Using point and click, dotData turns predictive modeling into a 5-minute operation, making you more data-driven. And dotData integrates with your favorite BI tool, giving your users the ability to leverage AI-powered predictive analytics quickly and easily. dotData simplifies AI, eliminating the need for complex tools, automating iterative tasks, empowering everyone to leverage AI to achieve the highest possible business impact. Move beyond what happened and start powering AI-driven decisions. dotData, the ultimate end-to-end automation platform that turns BI teams into predictive BI teams.
Okay, so hope you enjoyed that video. So if you are already working on any AI use case, or if you're looking to start an AI journey, please feel free to reach out to us and we can discuss about doing a POC. And those are my coordinates. And I'll look forward to hearing from you very soon. Thank you very much for your time today and have a great year ahead. Thank you.
Hi. So building the capabilities and the partnerships for data-driven business is probably one of the essential things for many companies and financial institutions to do. So we talked about the partnership-driven embedded finance and the data governance. And on top of that, we talk about how the companies can use one of the best tools for data science automation, dotData. So again, thank you so much for joining today's NEC's workshop.